2016, one of the most memorable years in recent memory. WWE is firing on all cylinders during the year and provided a more satisfying experience. The brand split was back and the product had a sense of optimism to it. The whole entire year was filled with memorable moments, the match quality was even better than the previous one, and it looked like WWE was going through a new era. But this event was a bit before that. A time where the product wasn't the best, fans weren't really happy with it, ratings were going down, and a time where Roman Reigns was being pushed extremely strong. The fans didn't take a liking to him. Roman was doing some bad mic work and it took him a while to get more comfortable. By the end of 2015, he was much better, but fans hated him, and it got to the point where they brought in Vince to do a storyline. That kind of worked. Roman won the title. Once fans realized they were cheering Roman Reigns, they thought, hey, isn't this the Stone Cold story? And it was back to booing. Like, there was this 2-week period where they actually cheered Roman because he was rebellious, he wasn't scared, they weren't booking him as an underdog, he was badass. But once they changed that a bit, it was back to how it was before. This show is strongly centered on Roman Reigns defending the title in the main event in a 30-man Royal Rumble. One versus all, similar to Royal Rumble 92 and of course Royal Rumble 99, where Stone Cold had the deck stacked against him. Alright, with that said, let's get into it. Royal Rumble 2016 in Orlando. The first match of the show was a last man standing match of the Intercontinental Championship. Dean Ambrose defended the gold against Kevin Owens. Ambrose was doing very well at this point. He was one of the most popular wrestlers in the entire WWE simply because he was a comedy wrestler, but at the same time one of the most violent. When I mean violent in PG standards. He wasn't like going out there trying to bleed and stuff like that, but he had that unpredictable element to him. Kevin Owens was still getting pushed strong despite losing the Intercontinental Championship, and 2016 turned out to be one of his most standout years in WWE. Alright, let's get into it. Intense action early on. This benefited the champion very well. He brought out a kendo stick, leading to Owens fighting back and almost scoring the victory. The challenger slowed down the pace, which suited him well because Ambrose relied a lot on that explosive offense. Owens was bringing out weapons, using kendo sticks, and even brought out some chairs. Owens beat some aggression into Ambrose, who rebounded with a clothesline. Once both men recovered, Ambrose dropped Owens onto the chairs and dived through the ropes, only for KO to catch him and throw him into the steps. He set up some tables and got a chair tossed into his face. Ambrose was back. He was delivering a flurry of punches, countered the pop-up powerbomb, and hit that dirty deeds. Owens still managed to get up, only to take another dirty deeds. He set him on a table and hit an elbow. Still not enough for the win. He got back up against his will, and this only frustrated the champion. Back in the ring, Ambrose tried to set him up for a suplex, but ended up getting dropped. Kevin Owens hits a brutal pop-up powerbomb, and it had so much intensity to it, yet the Intercontinental Champion still had it in him to break the count. The challenger was going all out, and that ended up costing him because Ambrose pushed him through the tables on the outside. KO failed to beat the count, and Ambrose retained the title. Great match. Both men put up a fight and brought it. I like this match a lot, and it ranks amongst the very best last man standing matches. It brought more reports to the Intercontinental Championship, and it was an amazing opener. If I had to say I had a problem with this match, it would be the table spots. It didn't have much innovation to it. They relied a lot on 3 different table spots to add to the shocking moments, big moments in the match. They should have been more creative with it. That's what I think. Other than that, good match in a time where the IC title wasn't that valued. It wasn't that important. It needed a match like this. Ambrose was basically the guy to watch ahead of WrestleMania 32, but they didn't fulfill his full potential, I'd say, during the build to WrestleMania itself. The whole match with Brock Lesnar, all that. Alright, the next match is the WWE Tag Team Championships. The New Day defended the titles against the Usos. This was way before the teams had an iconic feud. The New Day at this point was so undeniable. The team were heels, yet had a lot of fire and interest from the crowd. They weren't really heels at this point, were slowly turning face, but they were one of, if not the most entertaining acts in the entire company, and that's saying something. Their trombone was destroyed the previous week on Raw, but it didn't stop them from being happy. The Usos were somewhat associated with Roman Reigns, but lacked a lot. They peaked 2 years earlier. Wasn't going well for them because of the fact that they never evolved as talent. Their entrance was the same, their matches were the same, everything about them was the same, and the fans got a bit bored of that. Okay, alright, with that said, Kofi and Jimmy started things off. The babyfaces took control with their double team and Jay comes in. The challengers were more determined than the champions, with Kofi struggling. Big E comes in and throws Jay into the post, and this was the first time in the match that the New Day were on offense. Xavier Woods hits a DDT on the outside, and the champions finally had a hold on the match. The double teams were starting to work. Jay finally rebounded with a kick, and Jimmy was finally in. The crowd wasn't really into the Usos. Samoan drop, Jimmy was looking strong and dominant. Belly-to-belly suplex from Big E gives him a near fall. Failed spear from Big E. Jay on the outside, Big E finally connects. Back and forth action, the Usos almost scoring the victory, but Woods interfered. Big E drops Jimmy on the outside, and back in, the New Day took advantage of the numbers game, and Big E caught Jay and hit the big ending 1, 2, 3. Great match. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I thought this match was overlooked. The Usos, despite being a bit dry in general, really showed up here, and it also comes down to chemistry. There's a reason why the Usos and the New Day had a great rivalry afterwards. It's because both teams understood each other and were determined to put on a show. They almost stole this one, you know? If I had to have a problem with this match, it's the fact that it didn't feel important. I don't know why. It felt like the New Day were miles ahead of the Usos at this point because of their character, the way they evolved as talent. Other than that, though, good match. They would have much better, though, in the future. The Wyatt family in the back were ready for the Rumble. Bray Wyatt said, "The apocalypse is here." Now, during the build to the Royal Rumble, they were hyping up Bray as a potential favorite, along with Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, and, I believe Sheamus, I don't even remember. The next match is for the United States Championship. Alberto Del Rio defending the gold against Kalisto. So Del Rio at this point was pushed just on the fact that he beat John Cena 3 months earlier. I personally think they themselves regret it up to this point because Del Rio was not the guy. They probably knew it beforehand, but they still went with it. Kalisto, on the other hand, won the belt 2 weeks earlier, only to lose it later that week on SmackDown. So the bell rings. Kalisto quickly goes on the attack, but it was easy work for the champion. He was delivering shots in the corner when all of a sudden Kalisto ran in through the ropes. Once he got back in the ring, boom! Del Rio hits a kick in the corner. Suplex from the champion gives him a near fall and he locks in a hold. Kalisto escapes, and after some strikes, Del Rio managed to get a hold of him and hit a tilted world. He threw Kalisto to the outside and ended up taking a Hurricanrana. His high-flying offense wasn't really working, though, with Del Rio being intense and aggressive. Whatever Kalisto was doing wasn't working, and coupled with his mask being targeted, it was tough. Nonetheless, he tried to fight back, but to no avail. Del Rio hits a kick for a near fall, and he was ready to wrap it up when Kalisto finally evaded a big move and hit a tornado DDT. He was finally starting to string together moves as opposed to hitting one and getting dropped, but the champion wasn't out of it. He hit a reverse suplex from the top. They botched the code red, and after Del Rio failed to stomp on Kalisto, he hit the Salida del Sol 1, 2, no. He got thrown to the outside, but once back in, he hit a kick and successfully hit the Salida del Sol 1, 2, 3. New champion. Solid match. The thing with WWE 2016 is this match does not stand out at all. I'm gonna say it right now, this match does not stand out, but it was very well done. What I liked about it is the fact that Kalisto, he had a chip on his shoulder at this point. He felt like he was very motivated to do stuff, and it also helped that he was getting pushed. He was like a talent to look out for. I remember at the time he had just split up with Sin Cara, and he was basically a new singles star. He was fresh. He was someone to watch out for. But other than that, I don't have much to say about this match. I just like going back to see how Kalisto was doing back then. He was actually a talent to watch out for, and I really thought they were going to push him harder. It was like their answer to Rey Mysterio leaving, but it didn't end up that way, so it is what it is. In the back, Paul Heyman was vouching for Brock Lesnar to be the winner of the Royal Rumble match. The whole point of him talking to Stephanie was to tell her that Brock Lesnar wants a new contract. She's like, hey, if Lesnar beats Roman Reigns, eliminates him, and wins the title, they'll have no problem negotiating with him. Okay, the next match is the Divas Championship. Charlotte Flair defended the title against Becky Lynch. Two former friends face off. Charlotte had a slow heel turn breaking out from the group led by Paige. Had some Prawn Hub title, I forgot what it was called, Submission Sorority or something like that. Charlotte's ego grew once she won the title and felt that she was above everyone else. Ric Flair started to manage her, and her run is kind of blurry. All I remember is Paige mentioning her dead brother and constant interference from her father. Okay. Collar and elbow tie up. Becky quickly takes advantage, and Charlotte responds by showing some of that Flair experience. Both women were responding to each other, and it was very evenly matched. They were targeting each other's arm. Fans were chanting Becky's name as she sends Charlotte to the outside. She was about to take complete control when Ric Flair decided to kiss her. This moment was so bad that they edited it out of the show on the network. Charlotte took advantage and she was all over the challenger. The champion isolated Becky Lynch with rest holds and was slowly taking the life out of her. Wearing down, Becky Lynch did well initially, but once she got up, it was over. It was comeback time for Becky Lynch, and Charlotte had no answer to the onslaught. She was one step ahead of the champion and was more and more confident of her chances. Roll-up attempt and boom! Spear. Despite this, Becky found a way to lock the disarmer. The pressure was on Charlotte, but Becky was unable to counter her strength. Once both women recovered, Charlotte accidentally dropped her father and found herself in the disarmer. Becky was close to scoring the victory when Flair threw his jacket over her, leading to Charlotte cheating and hitting the spear 1, 2, 3. She continued the attack afterwards when Sasha Banks came out. The boss was here and decided to claim her mark. Decent match. The only problem was how predictable it was. Becky and Charlotte continued to have better matches in the future, and this storyline in itself led to the triple threat match at WrestleMania 32. I do think they rushed the triple threat match in hindsight because, you know, they should have waited till 33 to do with Bayley, perhaps, but it is what it is. Okay. And the main event, the 30-man Royal Rumble match, 1 versus all. Roman Reigns defends the WWE World Heavyweight Championship as the #1 entrant. Roman's push came to a point where his skills did improve, but because he was pushed so hard, the fans didn't accept him. His biggest problem here was getting used to this big role. Rusev was the second entrant, and he was a part of the League of Nations. This feud was so bad, it dragged on and on and on, and it was just Roman kicking their asses. Also, these two were the final ones in the Rumble the previous year. Both men went at it. Rusev almost threw Roman out but failed and instead threw him through the ropes. Back in, he hits the spear and sends him out. Time for number 3. Some country music plays and the fans are going crazy, but we can't see because the camera's stuck on Roman Reigns. It turns out to be the debuting AJ Styles. Amazing moment to see Styles finally come to the WWE. There was some belief he would come in, but it was a situation where you had to see it to believe it. He gets into it with Roman, fails to hit the Styles Clash, and the crowd was hyped. Tyler Breeze comes in and surprisingly he gets a lot of offense in. AJ Styles finally shows his offense on Breeze before Roman strikes Prince Pretty out. Number 5 was Curtis Axel of the Social Outcasts and immediately goes on the attack. He was constantly complaining about never being eliminated the previous year, and despite all this help from his guys, he got his ass beat and AJ Styles eliminated him. The 6th entrant in the match was Chris Jericho. Y2J Styles and Roman Reigns in the same ring. It's crazy. Nice action between AJ and Jericho. Roman was starting to get fatigued, and this was a joke at the time. Any little thing with Roman was criticized, and since he didn't have the stamina to go the distance, a lot of people made fun of him. Kane enters the Rumble. The commentary hyped him up as the greatest contestant in the match, and the Big Red Machine enters with all the momentum. He almost threw out Styles, and at this point in the match, it was clear that Roman was struggling. Goldust enters at number 8. He had some nice moments in there. Number 9 was Ryback. The ring was slowly starting to fill up, and Ryback went after everybody and looked dominant. The fans were chanting, "Feed me more," and it didn't take too long for him to struggle. Jericho and Kane were trying to push him out, and on the other side, Roman was taking a beating. Kofi Kingston entered at number 10. AJ Styles hit the phenomenal forearm and almost paid the price for it. Titus O'Neil enters. He has his moment to take over the match and even eliminated Goldust. Jericho and Kane had to work as an alliance to neutralize Titus, and on the other side, Roman Reigns was on the verge of getting eliminated. R-Truth enters and brings out a ladder thinking the title is at the top, and the look on his face when he realizes it was so damn funny. It was hilarious. Kane grabs him, throws him out. He tries to follow up on Kofi Kingston, but the New Day made the save. Luke Harper entered at number 13, and all of a sudden, Mr. McMahon comes out with the League of Nations and they took out the champion. He was beaten and battered. Stardust was number 14. The group were still attacking Roman and even sent him through the announce table. Royal Rumble 1999 as script. Big Show enters. He's untouchable and even eliminated Ryback. Neville comes in while Roman's being carried to the back. The man that Gravity forgot brought an entirely different level of speed and agility that hadn't been featured during this match. Jericho on the other side eliminated Kofi. Number 17 was Braun Strowman. He's a big guy, so you know what that means. Strowman threw out Kane with zero problems and went face to face with the Big Show. He choked out the Giant and eliminated him as well. So Strowman threw out 2 of the biggest favorites, at least what WWE thought, because who in the hell in the year of 2016 thinks Big Show or Kane will win? Nobody. A broken and battered Kevin Owens entered at number 18, and right when he entered, he got into it with AJ Styles. Neville almost throws him out before KO ends up eliminating the Phenomenal One. The fans were pissed at this point. Strong showing. I think if WWE knew what they had, they would have made him go to the very end. But this was in a time period where they had to test him out and see if he's a guy that they could push. You guys know how WWE does things. But it worked out very well for AJ Styles later on. Number 19 was Dean Ambrose. He goes at it with Kevin Owens, continuing their battle from early on. Sami Zayn entered at number 20, making his official main roster debut. He had a match with Cena about a year earlier, but this was a full-time thing. Zayn went at it with Owens. Non-stop strikes from both men. Owens thinks he has him when Zayn throws him out. Number 21 was Eric Rowan. The Wyatts had an advantage and were determined to make it work. Harper with the clothesline on Ambrose, he drops Neville and sends him out of the match. The group double-teamed Stardust and sent him out as well. Jericho tried to put up a fight, but it wasn't working. Mark Henry enters next. The world's strongest man put up a fight for a second, and the Wyatts threw him out. The team was too dominant and Zayn was out as well. It seemed like nobody was capable of putting a stop to this onslaught from the Wyatt family. Enter Brock Lesnar. He obliterated the Wyatts, sent them to Suplex City, threw out Rowan, made Strowman look like a joke, and it was a cool moment. Jack Swagger comes in, does absolutely nothing, takes an F5 and gets thrown out. Brock Lesnar single-handedly took down the Wyatts. All he had to do was throw them out. The Miz enters at number 25 and was ready to face the Beast, but first, he sat on commentary. In the ring, Harper takes a belly-to-belly overthrow and a German suplex. Ambrose was taking a beating too. Harper was eliminated by Lesnar, and that stranglehold that the Wyatts had on the match was gone. Alberto Del Rio comes in at number 26, and the wrestlers realized they should team up to take out Lesnar. But that plan wasn't working. It went from bad to worse for the Wyatt family because Brock Lesnar threw out Strowman. Number 27 was Bray Wyatt. The rest of the family came back in and jumped Lesnar, and that plan didn't work initially, and Brock took Bray to Suplex City. They came back in, and Bray hit Sister Abigail, and they then eliminated him. This was supposed to lead to a match between Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32, but some stuff happened. Dolph Ziggler enters at number 28. He drops everyone in sight before The Miz re-enters and hits the skull-crushing finale. The Miz thought he was doing something at this point. He was posing, messing around. It was goofy. Sheamus enters at number 29, and Roman Reigns comes in from behind and drops him with a Superman punch. So Roman disappeared for a while at this point, and the fans boo. He throws out The Miz, Del Rio, and the champion was fully charged. All of a sudden, Triple H enters at number 30. The same man that Roman Reigns obliterated a month earlier and sent to the hospital. Now, the fans hated Roman Reigns, so anybody, even Michael Cole, would have gotten cheered if they threw him out. Ziggler tried to go after Triple H, but took a pedigree. Reigns responds with a spear on Bray Wyatt. Intense action with Roman Reigns having the edge. Knee to the face. Triple H fails to hit the pedigree. Sheamus comes in, and I completely forgot about Chris Jericho, who ended up taking a zigzag. They teased the Triple H elimination with Dolph hitting a super kick, but it didn't happen though, and the game threw him out. Nice tease between Bray and Triple H. Wyatt goes after the game. Sheamus with a bro kick, and with Triple H, they toss out Bray. Roman almost eliminates both men, and at this point, it was the best stretch of action seen in the entire match. Back and forth. Everyone's countering stuff, and then Ambrose eliminated Jericho. So now it's down to 4. Roman with a Superman punch, bro kick from Sheamus. He goes for it again when Roman drops him with a Superman punch. Triple H comes in and throws him out. So we were guaranteed to see a new champion. The fans went crazy. They were preying on Roman's downfall, so this was amazing. Ambrose was all fired up and the fans were fully behind him. Whatever Triple H was throwing at him, he was able to withstand and dish out his own. Triple H failed to hit the pedigree and found himself struggling to stay in the match. But because Ambrose was too aggressive, he used it against him and won the Royal Rumble. New champion. So Triple H came back and won the Royal Rumble. Oh, what a shocker. Did it shock anybody? No. Let's be honest. This was not shocking in the slightest. After Triple H disappeared, Roman has no big problems. He's overcoming the problems, actually. We all knew that Triple H was going to return as the number 30 entrant. Why did he win the title for the 14th time? Well, injuries. Personally, though, I obviously would have had it go a different way, but that's just me. I would have had Ambrose win the entire thing here. Who cares, right? I would have had him win the entire thing here because the fans are fully behind him, unlike Roman Reigns, and most definitely unlike Triple H. Other than that, though, this was a good Royal Rumble. The previous two were bad, dull, boring, disappointing. Every negative thing you think of, that's the Royal Rumble matches from 2014 and 15. This was the best Rumble match since 2013, and there was some nice moments in here, you know? The fact that Roman Reigns had to defend the title makes for a cool concept. I kind of hope they do it again. But other than that, good moments. AJ Styles debuting for the first time in WWE. The fans in Orlando were hyped to see him. And even though he got eliminated in the middle of the match, there was some sense of optimism to see what he was going to do in WWE. Other than that, Brock Lesnar's Suplex City moment was cool. The ending with Roman Reigns getting thrown out. They teased us with Dean Ambrose. It was a good Royal Rumble match. Alright, that's the 2016 Royal Rumble. And this was actually a good event. It was very, very good. The best Royal Rumble in general since 2013. Or I'd even go as far as to say it's the best Royal Rumble since 2010 or 2009. The reason why is because everything clicked on here. There was not a single bad match on here, including the Rumble itself. Obviously, Triple H winning was predictable and all, but it was a good match, you know. Predictability doesn't take away from the Royal Rumble main event. Opener was great. The other matches were nice as well. And I recommend this Royal Rumble. It was actually good. It's better than I remember it being. So yeah. Alright, what you guys think of Royal Rumble 2016? Please comment down below, and that's the first video. Make sure you hit the dirty deeds on the like button and perhaps the pedigree on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.